welcome everybody to Cafecito Power Break. Excited to be doing this. Always every Wednesdays at 1 p.m. But we'll talk about next week in a moment. Welcome, Hadassah, as our guest for today. Um, yeah, it's going to be an
Thank you.
interesting conversation.
Thank you so much, Sandra, for having me, and hi to everyone who's joined.
Yeah, this is great. So today we're going to spend 10, 15 minutes talking about Stoicism. I think this is a great topic, especially as we're getting ready for New Year's. People are kind of reevaluating what they want to change, habits, things you want to become, right? I think Stoicism is such a great, it's broad, but we're gonna talk about a specific side of it, to talk about how we're handling ourselves, right? How do we live a virtuous life? How do we react? How do we have relationships, communications? How do we deal with what's going on with us or managing us when the world can be chaotic all around us? How do we do that? So yeah, welcome. I'd love for you guys to chime in on the chat. But Hadassah, give us your initial thoughts
Listen,
on that.
I'm not an expert on Stoicism or um, philosophical ancient wisdom or any of that, but I am an expert in me, and I'm an expert having lived my life experiences, right? So one of the things that I deal with or that I have to manage is my anxiety. I have an anxiety disorder, and it's intense sometimes, but I've had to learn how to accept that and start navigating through it and kind of learn new ways of teaching myself how to regulate those emotions and what's going on in my mind, what's going on in my body, and being fully aware of that and take full um, management over them. So I came across Stoicism, and it, I'm going to read to you what it says about what it is. So Stoicism is number one. It's the endurance of pain or hardship without the display of feelings and without complaint. Okay, that to me when I read it, it's like, oh, so you just become extremely detached
Emotionless?
from
Yeah. Hmm.
emotions, but it really doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean walk away from your emotions or don't feel anything. It basically means, yeah, you're feeling this, but you're the one in charge. It doesn't, your whole world doesn't need to fall apart. It says that it's an ancient Greek school of philosophy. Okay, so anything that's philosophical, ancient school, I just gravitate towards that because it's part of the human experience. And
Yep.
I do believe that we can all learn from each other, regardless of how way back in the past those individuals lived. Um, and there's a reason why it was so popular in during some times in history, right? So the main thing is learn to regulate your emotions and take care of your well-being.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. First that I've heard of it is from Marcus Aurelius. So one thing he had said, not one thing, one of the many things, you have power over your mind, not outside events. So exactly what you said. It's really understanding us. Realize this, and you will find strength. So this is so important because we tend to, number one, you mentioned anxiety. How many people listening to this right now have experienced anxiety? Probably all of them. I don't think there's one that hasn't, right? This is part of our daily, um, not daily, but it's just part of life of being human, right? We have this
Yeah.
sense of, when we think about the way things should be, or we think that they could be, we, we anxiety tends to kind of derail us from much of that.
I look at the whole world and what we've all experienced at a global level the last few years, right, with the pandemic and all that stuff. And it has caused a lot of anxiety. Most people that used to manage it a different way because it was at such a high level, it triggered a lot of things in a lot of people. And we hear a lot of sad stories about how these people have not been able to manage it.
Yeah.
And people behaving erratically and all that stuff. So, stoicism for me is how do you get back to you and how do you take care of the most important thing that you have, which is your mind.
Yep.
It's not the
The
certificates or
details.
degrees that you may have on the wall or your
Yep.
job history, or it's your mind. That's the most important thing that you have, and you own your mind. It doesn't belong to anybody else but you, right? So you have to take stock of everything that's going on in your life. Things that may be causing a lot of stress, you got to remove them, and
Yep.
start from there. But one thing that I've done is I take time and take stock of what's going on through here. And stoicism for me has been a door to live my life as an adult,
Yeah.
not reactionary, but be more balanced. It doesn't mean that every day I don't fail here or there, but it really doesn't matter.
No, for sure.
These are truths that it's almost like the manual on how to live as a human being.
Yeah, yeah. So how do you find, like, maybe in the past have you dealt with situations that have got you either upset or angry
Sure.
versus today? Like
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
do you
It's
see?
like shut the door, walk away, not even deal with it.
Hmm.
Escape, escape without really taking full responsibility for even
Your
my
role.
reaction to certain things and how
Yeah,
it's impacted me. Because you can give responsibility to others up to a really small level,
yeah,
but at the end of the day, you have to take full responsibility for you and how things, if you are in the midst of a situation that's not working for you, you got to get out.
yeah. It's
You
not up
have
to
to
anybody
find a way
else to
to
get
get out.
better, to do better. It's not up to the
Yeah,
people around you. It's up to us to decide what is good for our own best mental health. I love
absolutely, absolutely.
that you
Yeah.
mentioned that.
And continue to read and learn and don't ever stop learning. That's my thing.
Yeah,
I have this love for words and I have this love for learning that it's not enough to just sit in front of the tube for 15 hours a week or 20 hours a week. And if that is what works for you, fine, do it. But this here, you have to keep it alive and exercise your mind, exercise your brain by learning and looking outside of the box.
we definitely
That's
need to
my
do
theory.
series of these because this is like you're opening the door to, like, let's have these other conversations for sure, for sure. I love that you brought this up in general, this idea of stoicism, how we manage ourselves. I mean, our brain is so divinely powerful, and science, what science has uncovered about the potential that we have locked in here that is untapped. This is science, and it's spiritual, right? People call it,
Yes.
I don't like the term woo woo because there's no such thing as that anymore. Like, everything is spiritual, everything is
Yeah.
science. It's beautiful, it's one. But how do we, number one, manage it, and then how do we control ourselves or manage ourselves to not react um, to things that are not designed to derail us, but are on are are around us and could potentially derail us and derail our thinking and allow us to kind of fall into this reaction that the world is supposed to behave the way we need it to behave, the way that it makes sense for us, the way that it makes our lives easier. So when things go wrong, whether it's chaos at work or chaos at home or relationships or whatever it is that you're dealing with, it's how do I not allow my emotions to completely put
Mhm.
me in a place of either anger or sadness or self-loathing, or just something that's really not healthy for ourselves. But keeping in mind that, listen, this is my superpower right here, this is my computer with no,
Yeah.
this is what I have to master my life and to react, and it's up to me. Because if you keep allowing negative thoughts and
Yeah.
negative, like, I should have said that, or I'm gonna say this, or
No, yeah,
reacting.
you don't want to do that. And one thing that I'm thinking about is It's all about the meaning that you give the different situations that you're in or that you're going through.
Yep.
Let's say a breakup, a relationship ends. It's like, oh, you broke my heart. Well, actually, your heart didn't break. Your ego got hurt. That's it, because how dare this person walk away from me or do this to me? But
Yeah.
you never question the times that you have failed somebody else.
Yep.
He's like, oh, I just did what I had to do. But when somebody does what they have to do for themselves and it impacts you and it hurts you, you're offended. You get all. So
Yeah.
it's the meaning. So you have to change that meaning. Like the best thing that ever happened to me was to have a broken heart back in 2014, 2015. I thought my world was going to end, but in actuality, my heart broke in order for love to be able to flow out of it and new love to come in. So I gave it the meaning of this is not the end of the world. It's just the end of a relationship, and every relationship has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Everything ends. We end in this world. Everybody here, 100% of us is going to die, right?
Yeah.
So it's about the meaning that you give life. And if you stay in that weird meaning in your head, you're never going to move out of it and you're never
Yeah.
going to experience new experiences and live life fully, right? So it's about the meaning that you give the experiences that you're going through.
Yeah.
Nothing's good or bad. It's you give it that meaning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stay
And that,
neutral, stay in the middle.
yeah, that has a lot of people thinking right now, right? How do we not react? So give me, and I'll share some tips that I have, but share with me, like, what are some of the things when right now something happens that gets your emotions in an array? What would you do to help calm your mind and help you refocus on what's important and
Yeah,
what's really
because
matters?
I know I deal with CPTSD, which is childhood. It's complex post-traumatic stress disorder is there.
Yep.
So I've learned to read my body when I'm dysregulated. So one of the things that I do is I touch the back of my teeth with my tongue. I kind of push it, towards the front, or I just kind of like pause. I if my face starts to feel numb, I know I'm being dysregulated. So I just breathe and I start having that conversation with me,
Yeah.
like it's okay, calm down.
Yeah.
It's not the end of the world. Um, Many times after the incident is over, I have to take time for myself and I write. And you have to handwrite it. You have to, don't type it, you have to handwrite it. Um, it doesn't even have to make sense, whatever you're writing. Just jot it all down, jot it all down. You have to write down what you resent about the situation, what you're fearful, because a lot of times it's fear that's behind your reaction, right?
Yep.
After that, you take that piece of paper and you rip it up and you throw it away. And then you just do some meditation.
Yeah.
Just for 5, 15, 20 minutes, you meditate and your body, you will notice how your body will calm down. If you can't do the 15, 20 minutes, do 5 minutes, but you have to walk away from but the writing and the ripping it up. And it's not journaling, by the way. You're just writing things out because you have to get it out of your system
So
into
it's
that
whatever thoughts come to you, or
whatever. It doesn't have to make any sense. It's like, but it's mostly I resent this situation because I'm fearful that this situation is going to cause this, 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 this. Then you notice that there's this pattern. It's all about fear.
yeah.
It's all about the fear, but you rip it up and you realize, oh, okay, it's not really that big of a deal. I'm still here. I'm breathing. I'm alive. Let me move
Yeah.
on from this.
Yeah. There was a practice that I went through. It was from an author, and Byron Katie. I was just trying to like find out her last name. It's the book's over here, but um, one of the one of the things that she does that I learned that, and I learned this through a coach that I had. He put us all through it, but it was a process of when things happen, like, right, like this, I'm so mad at this person for this thing. And then you really ask yourself after you write that down, well, is that really true? Like, is what this person did to you, is it really true, their intention, right? Because we tend to think, oh, they did it with malicious, they meant to hurt us, they meant to do bad, for us. But is it really true?
Right.
right? And that
And I actually
question,
have a sticky note on my mirror that says, what is the positive intention with this or with that? And then I apply. It's like, what is the positive intention of what this person is doing for me
yeah,
or to me? Because it's like, otherwise you go into this person's doing this against me, blah, blah, blah. And then you get this paranoia. It's like
yep,
the world is against me. But everything that happens, you can switch it around saying, how can this work for me?
yeah,
Maybe something needs to happen in order to put a little bit of fire under your
yep,
bottom to
hmm,
get moving into something else that's greater, that's meant
yeah.
for you.
I love that, because that tends we when we think those thoughts, we energetically release those thoughts, right? People around us, even virtually, can feel that energy, right? So if we're thinking like, what's this person gonna, how this is this person gonna harm me or do bad for me, that energy is gonna be felt. But even
Absolutely.
despite that, if you're constantly thinking, what is the good that's going to come out of this,
Right.
you know, what because you're expecting good, because you feel that's what I'm calling from the universe. I
Yeah.
am
Yeah.
calling the good out of you. Some
Yes.
people have it, some people do not have it, so you have to learn to walk away from situations that people are just not, they're either for whatever
No.
reason
And
not
sometimes
willing to be stoic.
those people are usually in your life for you to remember how not to be.
Yes, I like that. For sure. Gosh, this conversation, we can go for an hour and like literally breaking down the different elements of our lives, from anger, sadness, loss, grief. How do we handle those things without succumbing to the pain of what they all bring, right? Because I think many of us are dealing with that. I have certainly dealt with
Mhm.
that for sure. You know, trying to be positive amidst really sadness,
But
you know?
you can be positive and but not toxic positivity.
Oh, yeah, for sure, for sure.
Because there's this whole thing is, oh, you got to be positive. Yes, but there's also a balance in being
Yes.
positive. You can be way too toxic positive.
Yeah.
You have to have compassion with that,
Yeah.
and then that gives you the balance.
Yep. So let me reframe that. So I'll say kinder to myself. I
Yes,
will be
yes,
kinder to my thoughts. I will be kinder to myself. And
yeah.
as opposed to saying, you know, especially when I think of the things that I've been through, like I find, and I have lived this way for a long time. What are the mistakes that I did? What's my role? How did I screw that up? You know, even things with my mother that, you know, when she was ill, I blamed myself for many years of I wasn't,
Sandra,
the
there were
little
not
things.
mistakes.
Oh,
There were
yeah.
not mistakes. There were lessons.
Yeah.
There were lessons.
Yeah. But I mean, like, I think that this happens to many people where because
Mhm.
I've had many conversations where we really blame ourselves for the thing especially I think as women, where we are the creators, we are the household, we are the ones that are running, and we're I think,
As
you know,
as
with us,
mothers, as women,
we
I
try to take
agree.
care of everything. So when
I
things
agree.
go wrong, and it's something that we can't control, and it's something that
Yeah,
we can't really do anything about, we tend to, I felt like, God,
you
I should,
failed.
I failed. There was something I
Yeah.
could have done. I could have fixed this somehow. You can't, there's nothing I could have done. But, you know, I sat in that for many years, in that
Hmm.
sadness. And that led me to really sad depression and really sad times. You know, I still managed. I never fell to the core, but adentro, inside me, I was broken. You know, it's there are many people, especially on LinkedIn here, that are managing executive roles, that are directors in their own companies, that are dealing with baggage of crap, of sadness, of
That
taking
is
care
so
of
sad.
elderly
Yeah.
parents, whatever's going on. So it's being able to, you know, like you said, you use the word regulate, like being able to regulate and manage the thoughts that are going on in our mind, knowing what's in
Mhm.
our control, what is out of control, and then looking at ourselves when it comes to situations where we do get angry or there are more negative emotions, when we ask ourselves, well, what is my role in this, and
Yes.
how could I support this other person, or how could I help in any way? And if I can't, I need to step away. You know, if this is not
Absolutely.
something that's
Yes.
healthy. So being able to love ourselves to the point where we know our mind can I don't want to say play tricks. That's just something to dive deep into, though. I like that term, playing, when our mind is playing tricks on us.
When your mind plays tricks on you, it's another coping mechanism that you probably learned to survive different circumstances throughout your life. So it will play tricks for your own survival. That's why it's so important for you to start observing how your thoughts go through your mind. What are those thoughts?
Yeah,
What are the patterns? Are they speaking against yourself, or are they speaking towards building you up and giving you encouragement?
yeah,
When you are able to identify those, then you have a lot more clarity as to what your next step should be.
yeah, yeah. I love that. I love that. I think this has been a great cafecito break. And I don't think we've even like touched the
I
surface.
didn't even have a chance to drink my coffee.
I
Hold on.
know. Take a sip. Take a sip. But I think what we should do is really think about maybe a series of mindset sessions where we really talk about and help people understand that they're not alone out there, because there's a lot of people
No,
that
they're not.
feel what they're going through, they're alone. And ironically, we're all connected, right, as human beings.
We are all interconnected,
And yet
every
we
single one
and
of
yet
us.
we feel alone. This is definitely conversations that I want to tap into. Like all 2023 is really dissecting this, and helping more people feel that they're not alone. We're all in this together. We're all
Yeah.
have something that we're dealing with. We all have some form of baggage or trauma that we have. We all are telling ourselves or have anxiety and are telling ourselves that at times, am I good enough, or questioning ourselves. But really understanding our role and our purpose in this world, giving the best that we have and we can out of it, and understanding that when we react in negative ways, that it's only going to bring more negative. It's not going to, nothing positive is going to come out of that, but being able to handle it where we feel satisfied and in control of who we are,
Absolutely.
and the things that we put out there in this world. So
Yes,
thank you.
I agree. Yes, we're all human.
Yes, we are for now.
We're all human.
We're all actually, if you want to break that down even further, we're all energy balls just vibrating.
Yes, we are.
All right,
We
guys.
need each other. Yes.
Yes, yes. Well, thank you so much, Hadassah, for
You're
joining
welcome,
us.
Sandra. It's always a pleasure having these deep philosophical conversations with you and everyone.
Yes, yes. And we'll be back on the holiday session, which you'll be back on that one too. So
That's great.
I'm so excited. I hope you guys enjoyed your little break, had got a little nuggets or a bite, and that's it. I hope you
Thank
guys
you,
have a blessed
everyone.
day.
Take care.
Take care,
Bye.
guys. Bye.